Well, welcome back to Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Homesteading. Today's exciting video is going to be about chainsaw bar maintenance. So there's a number of things we need to establish. First of all, we need to figure out what size the bar and the chain is. So there's information on here you won't be able to see, but it tells you what type of chain it takes. And this is an Oregon bar, so you can look on their website, and this takes a 3/8 by 050, and down here it says 70 drive links. So here's a 3/8 chain, a brand new one, and the width here is the 50 thousandths, so we need to match that up first. So the first thing we need to do, this bar has been hot and not oiling properly, and I'd loaned it out and wasn't very well taken care of. They'd run out of oil, and so it's got a little ridge on it here. So what I do to establish where that's at, I take a scraper like this, and you can see here it hits other places it'll go right past. So since we're working with metal, we want to wear some gloves. So we put this right here. I like using this because it's flat and you can tell if your bar's warped or not because it'll sit crooked, which this one does not. So we'll just clamp this down tightly and get our gloves on. And I like using a table like this rather than a vise because it's laying flat. And so what we're going to do is use a flat file to cut off all these ridges here. And you want to start and go kind of at an angle like this. And I can check it here. The reason you want to go like this is it takes a nice smooth cut for a long distance. This way you have a tendency to kind of get ridges and cut the bar. This way you're working all that metal off there. You can control the edge here. You can see there's spots here. I'll put it up by the camera here so you can see it. So you can see it cut a lot wider here than it did here, and that makes it all nice and even the full length. So we'll do the other 3 edges and be back. Okay, now that we've got these edges cleaned up, you can see the shiny spots where we've taken off all that metal that was mushed over. Different spots here. We need to clean the grooves inside of here of any debris. A little screwdriver works great for that. So the things we want to establish are right here. Our end result is going to be that the bar top is square to the side and equal on both sides. The common problems that you run into is like this one, where one side is lower than the other. That'll make it cut crooked. Here the top is out, and so the chain rocks. There again it'll cut improperly. Down here we have one where one side of the bar is thinner than the other. That's when we have to replace the chain. The other thing that we want to do is want to check the depth of the teeth on the chain. We need a dial indicator for that. And then what we want to do is go down in the groove, which this won't fit, but we need to make sure that the bottom of the drive tooth here is not hitting the bottom of the groove in the bar, and there the wouldn't cut properly and just wear the chain out real quick. So here's how we're going to achieve these goals here. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, well, here's the things that we're going to establish. Since my micrometer wouldn't fit down inside of here to see how deep it is, I can just take a little screwdriver, put it like that, take the drive tooth and put it against that, and you can see there's about 1/8 of an inch of clearance, so we're good. So the next thing we need to know is how far out this is. So there again, we use our dial caliper. Okay, we're at 58 thousandths. Now this bar is designed for 50 thousandths. That's the width of the drive tooth again on the chain. So I like to run about 2 thousandths extra clearance on them from 50 for better oiling. So we're going to need some specialized tools to achieve this. So the first thing we're going to do, these are some of the tools we need. This is a bar file. Fits on here like this. There's a file in here for cutting the surface here. So we're going to take a marker pen and mark the top of the bar here on the rails, so there's no shiny part you can see anymore. So what we'll do is put this on here, so this is against the bar. The file is right under here. So what I can see is this side here is being cut and this side isn't, so it's slightly crooked, so we'll have to come back and finish that up. And then to get the distance proper in here again, use a rail closer. These are about $30 to $50. Have a couple of rollers here, an adjusting arm, and this is designed so you can move this back and forth. So this you put on the bar like so. Start down here, move that in and snug it up just slightly. Then you run this in until you feel a little bit of pressure against it, just like that. Then we need to take and tighten the bolt up. And again, I like using gloves when I'm doing this stuff. So this is your hand hold, and you just push down on this and you just pull that along. Come back and check your clearance in here. And so looks like we're right about 52, exactly what we want. So it doesn't take a lot. The longest thing is to cut this down so both sides are even. So there you have it. Now the last thing we're going to do, once all this other work is finished, which we'll do later, this has a sprocket nose tip on it. And there's a little sprocket where the chain rides and stuff, and this spins really freely, which means there's no lubrication in it. And there's a little hole on either side here to use a grease gun. It's specialized for this. So you want to take a little pick or a toothpick or anything to get any debris out of here. And then just put this up against that hole and push the grease in. And when you're doing that, you want to rotate the sprocket. You can see some grease coming out already. What that does, flushes any debris in there out. It also lubricates the bearing in a complete circle. So there's the basics of making your bar good again. This one has been used a lot, and it wasn't a professional grade, but you know, if you don't want to buy the tools and stuff, you can go to a local saw shop and they have a bar grinder. They can do that part for you, and rail closer. But Thing is that they're going to charge you a fair amount to do it. And in short order, you can have as much in it as a whole new bar, so it's better to invest in a few tools and do it yourself. Plus, it's probably somebody that are working there for cheap, doesn't know what they're doing. If you learn how to do it yourself, you're better off. So, well, here's a good reason why we're doing a bar maintenance. This saw has several things wrong with it. The chain rocks a lot, and it rocks less this way than this way, so it cuts a little bit crooked. And as you can see, the teeth here are at the end of their life, really worn down. Still cuts great, but so this one we're gonna replace the chain. I'll show you how to make a new chain and do a full service on the bar, and at the same time we'll take the cover off here and service the clutch. So we'll do a complete service for the bar, chain, and clutch, all as the same thing in an upcoming video. Vintage is best. Invest in the tools and buy good tools. Here's a good example. This is a Cornwell end wrench that I bought when I first started working for a living. I've never ever worn these out. I've lost a few over the years, but these were some of the best made wrenches ever made. The new ones they make are no good. They're all chromey metal and clubby. But anyway, I'll talk about tools and stuff in an upcoming video. But today, there again, how to make your bar and chain work for you so you get a straight cut. It works perfect. So see you on the next video.